The Metal Garurumon X Antibody deck is clearly another very strong contender for the Tier 1 list in the BT9 format, and that is exactly what we'll be covering in today's video. Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another Digimon deck profile and in-depth building guide video. Just before we get started with the video, I got something really cool to share with all of you guys. If you haven't watched our newest Battle of series with Mario, then be sure to check that out as well. In our latest Battle of X Records series, you will get to see me play the Alphamon X Antibody deck, putting it in action, and playing against Mario's Red X Antibody Omnimon deck. Come watch the epic clash of the Royal Knights to find out who comes out on top. Links will be left in the description box down below or the iCard on the top right here. Now let's talk about the Metal Garurumon X Antibody. Other than Alphamon X Antibody, Metal Garurumon is also one of the best decks that I'm looking forward to play for this format. This deck is incredibly strong and fast, which outpaces many of the other X Antibody decks out there. The main reason for that is because its core mechanic and combo doesn't really heavily rely on building a big stack. Its win condition actually mainly focuses on level 5s and level 4s instead, unlike many others that heavily requires the level 6s. Not only that, it is very consistent with draw power and search power to find your combo pieces as quickly as possible. This is why this deck can exert a large amount of pressure and win fast. The top end level 6 and 7 cards are actually not as crucial to your main win condition, where all of them are just bonus pieces to help you secure the game winning finishing blow. If that seems a little bit confusing, don't worry, because like I always do, I have a combo guide and segments section which I will teach you guys how it all works afterwards. I also have a couple of other cards that I want to show you guys to include as a mini package after going through the basic build in the deck. So stick around for that as well. There's also one very surprising and important factor that you guys have to keep in mind. And that is many of you guys who are watching right now are not even subscribed. So if you haven't done so yet, be sure to do so right now. That is because we got lots more Digimon content and BT9 deck profiles coming up for all of you. It is why you also want to turn on that notification bell while you're at it so you know as soon as a video comes live. Lastly, don't forget to give this video a like because it just really helps. With that out of the way, let's begin with the deck profile. Okay, to begin with Digi-Egg cards like we always do, we play the 4 copies of Tsunomon from BT5. Your turn, if you have a Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, it gains extra 1000 DP. Having extra 1000 DP is fairly important for this deck because we want to buff up and become stronger when we swing in with our attacks. And that's really it for Tsunomon. I just want to play 4 copies of eggs for consistency, and that's how I like to keep it. So now let's begin with our rookies. We got 4 copies of Gabumon from the All Force Vegemon starter deck. This one is very similar to Tsunomon, where we really want to try to gain more DP. And this one is all turns. While you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you gain extra 1000 DP. And it's just really good card because it's of its all turns DP gain. And the main thing is that meeting the requirement of getting 8 cards in our hands is very easy in this deck. We got lots of search power, draw power to maximize our hand size as much as we can to really give us the best value with this Gabumon, which we always want to be digivolving, of course. Next up, we have another 4 copies of Gabumon. This one is from BT5, and this one lets us search. Revealing our top 3 cards on play, we get to add ourselves a Garurumon in its name as well as a Omnimon, which is really good and the best value when we do get both our hits. Searching is really important. We need to gather our combo pieces to build our stack, to build the perfect stack that we're looking for, and this is why the reason you have to run 4 copies and no less. And then we also have one more Gabumon where we have the BT1 Gabumon, which on play you get to draw 1. Still a very nice card to have every now and then, and just very useful as a one-off tech I like. Now let's show you guys the brand new Gabumon, where we have 4 copies of Gabumon X Antibody. Just like searching, like I mentioned earlier, searching is really good, and that's exactly what this Gabumon does. It can digivolve for 0 on top of a regular Gabumon. On play, or when digivolving, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, adding yourself a Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, and also one X antibody option to your hand. And then you place the rest at the bottom. This is just a really good addition. Very, very nice. You can build stronger stacks just to cycle more cards to draw, or you can even sometimes hard play a Gabumon and then Digivolve on top, draw yourself a card, and then do the search. And this is why this Gabumon is such a good card, because it gives you the versatility to keep your searching as consistent as possible. That's it for our rookies. Let's move into our level 4s. First off, we're going to showcase Garurumon. All our level 4s are going to be Garurumons. This one is the promo Garurumon, giving you an inheritable of when attacking, if you have Garurumon in its name, trigger, draw 1. And the reason why this is really a good card and really, really important for the early game stages is because of the drawing, but also it's not once per turn. So we have a lot of unsuspending mechanic going on when we play our combos with this deck, meaning that we can draw multiple times and get really good value off of this inherited effect. For our other Garurumon, we got 3 copies of the BT5 one. This one is essentially a 1-drop to Digivolve, because when you Digivolve on top of a Gabumon, you gain 1 memory back. Also, it has a very good inheritable where it's also all turns while there is Garurumon in its name, and you basically get extra 1000 DP. Like I mentioned earlier, getting that extra 1000 DP here and there to buff up our top end is just very, very nice, and that's what we always want to be seeing to make our top end slightly stronger than it normally is. Now let's talk about the brand new Garurumon, where we have 4 copies of Garurumon X Antibody. First off, just like all the other X Antibody cards, you can Digivolve for 0 on top of a Garurumon, and we mainly of course play it for its one and only inheritable effects. All turns, when this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name and it will be deleted by battle, you can trash 2 cards of the same level within this Digimon's Digivolution sources instead to prevent that deletion. This effect essentially provides you a one-time jamming effect capability, which is very, very important and very good when it comes to combos. And some of you guys might be reading it and might be a little bit confused. Don't worry, you guys will totally understand once I showcase you guys how it actually all works in the combo segment. But this is really, really important, and you have to play 4 copies in the deck, which I will not do any lower. That's it for level 4s. Let's talk about level 5s. For level 5s, we have the promo Garurumon, which came along with the promo Garurumon, which we showcased earlier. This one in particular is very, very important for the deck, and I think it's basically the core heart and soul where you have to have 4 copies of 100% as well. When attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Garurumon in its Digivolution sources, you can unsuspend this Digimon. It only has 6000 DP, and you usually want to swing into security with this Digimon, which is why the Garurumon X Antibody is very crucial. As you guys can see, it helps keep this Garurumon alive. Not only that, it has a inheritable where while you have 8 or more cards in your hand, giving your top end extra security +1 to deal more damage and be more aggressive is what I really, really like. And like I mentioned earlier, it's super easy to get 8 cards in your hand to fulfill for this condition and requirement. It's just that good of a card. Then I like to run 1 copy of this Garurumon Sagittarius mode, which is the promo one where you get it from purchasing a BT9 X Record box from the update pack. I do like to play this as a one-off tech simply because its when Digivolving effect does come in handy of being able to bounce 2 level 3s as long as we have a tamer. Not only that, its inheritable is exactly the same as the reason why we play Garurumon X Antibody. The effect is exactly the same, but this gives us more opportunities to have this built-in protection as well, which is really, really nice, and that's what I like about this card. We have the brand new Garurumon X Antibody, and we play 4 copies of this card. This card is very important in comboing along together with the promo Garurumon, which we talked about earlier, because it Digivolves on top of a Garurumon for 0. Also, when Digivolving, you get to unsuspend this Digimon. Afterwards, if there is a Garurumon or X Antibody option underneath its sources, you can bounce your opponent's level 4 as well. And once again, you guys might be reading the effect of this card thinking that it's not very special, but once you put all the pieces together in the combo segment, which again, I will talk about it in more detail, you guys will understand why this card is incredibly important in the deck as well. That's it for our level 5s, and for the level 6s, we play the 2 copies of EX1 Metal Garurumon. We mainly play it for its first effect, because when digivolving, we gain 1 memory back for every 4 cards in our hand. And like I said, we have so much draw power where getting up to 8 or more cards is very easy in this deck, where this card essentially becomes a 2-cost digivolve level 6, and in some scenarios when we have 12 cards in our hand, we can make this effectively a 1-cost to digivolve on top of a level 5, which is why this card is really good. It also has a very nice secondary effect where when attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand and a Tamer in play, you can return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on deletion effect to the bottom of their deck. This is especially good against Sword Defeat and purple matchups in general. It's not super good against all the other matchups, but it's just always a nice to have. But back to the first effect is exactly the reason why we really need it in order to play our boss Digimon of this deck, where we have the 3 copies of Metal Garurumon X Antibody. You digivolve for 1 on top of Metal Garurumon, and comboing it together with the EX1 Metal Garurumon, we can effectively make digivolving this card with 2 or 3 costs only, other than its regular 4 cost to digivolve on top of a level 5. When digivolving, you unsuspend this Digimon and it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn, offering you some defensive capabilities, which is very nice. Also, your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, and if you have Metal Garurumon or X Antibody option in its Digivolution cards, you return all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level back to their hand. Now, to keep in mind, the reason why this effect is insanely good is because it actually also happens during your active phase when you unsuspend this Digimon. The other reason why this card is particularly really good in this format is simply because a lot of the decks are trying to focus to build one big stack, and usually there's often enough times that your opponent will be leaving their one big stack, and then having the second effect of this card resolve really gives you the best value overall. We have to keep in mind that this Metal Garurumon X Antibody and our top line of level 6s and 7s are generally just an extra bonus to help us end games. The core combos really revolve around your level 5 and 4s instead overall. And Metal Garurumon X Antibody is really just there to help you push a little bit more further to end the games a little bit more closer. So that's why we only play 3 copies. Finally, to finish off with all our Digimon, we have the 2 copies of our level 7 Omnimon for Blitz for game. Like I mentioned, very similar idea to Metal Garurumon X Antibody. This is just a cherry on top in the end to help us finish the game a little bit more easier when we need to go for it. That's it for all of our Digimon. Now let's talk about our Tamers, where we do first have 2 copies of Davis, being the best blue memory tamer out there. Also just helping with our consistency to search for more cards that we need. Next up, since we do a lot of searching, we have 3 copies of Cool Boy, once again, helping us look for our X Antibody pieces, as well as the X Antibody option is really good. And like we all know, its second effect is just really good, allowing you to draw 1 and gain a memory by suspending it when we do digivolve into a same level X Antibody, which we really do in our combos. That's it for Tamers. And let's talk about options, where the first card we'd like to talk about is the brand new X Antibody option. This card is basically essential to any X Antibody strategy and deck. It's just a really good card because you can just slide it underneath one of your Digimon as long as you have a Digimon. You don't need to meet its color requirements. Its security effect is like a mini Hammer Spark, gaining you 1 memory, which is very helpful and really good. Now, what makes this option card so unique is because it provides an inheritable, which we have never seen before. First of all turns you cannot trash X Antibody within this Digimon's Digivolution, meaning that this cannot be trashed while being underneath a Digimon. When attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody and its traits from your hand for its Digivolution cost, and you still have to meet the Digivolution requirements as usual. However, this is not once per turn. At first, when I was reading this card, I wasn't too sure why it's that good, but once again, don't worry guys, I'll show you guys exactly what you want to do in the combo segment so that you guys will understand why this card is really good, because it actually lets you extend your plays a little bit when you don't have enough memory. But you guys will get it when I showcase you guys later. Next, I have 2 memory boosts. Once again, searching is great. I love searching. Delay, gaining extra memory to make even bigger plays is always fantastic, which is why I think 2 copies of this is really nice. Now, for some of our defensive options here, I have 1 copy of Metal Storm. If you have a Digimon that has X Antibody, the option card underneath its sources, you can reduce the cost of this by 2, and it basically returns one of your opponent's level 6 or lower back to their hand, and then you get to unsuspend one of your Digimon with Guru in its name. The signature move of Metal Garurumon X Antibody also combos very nicely with its second effect if you ever do get to pull it off, Security activating its main effect, which is very, very nice. Basically, a enhanced version of Kakaida's Breath. Then, to round up, we have one Ice Wall. Mainly, Security gain 2 memory for defensive capabilities, but also we all know why this card is just so good because on main, you get to slow down your opponent's plays, making them pay 2 memory for every attack, and buying yourself an entire turn with Ice Wall is always very, very nice. That wraps up for our 50 card main deck, and I do want to show you guys another interesting take or alternative package to sort of playing this deck optimally through my playtesting. Now, the first thing I want to showcase you guys is that we have another tamer to feature, and this is a brand new tamer from BT9 where we have Matt and Sora. This tamer is very good and very nice for this deck because at the start of your main phase, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, which like I said, you always do in this deck, you gain a memory. And if your opponent has 8 or more cards, you gain another memory. Effectively, in the mid game to the late game, you're always constantly gaining 2 memory off of this effect, which is very, very nice. Its secondary effect is when you do swing with a blue or red Digimon, you can suspend this tamer to bounce a level 3 of your opponents back to their hand, which comes in handy every now and then, but not really that important. Another tamer I would actually recommend is playing Hero. Once again, it's a memory tamer. You can substitute one of this for a Davis, and what it really does for you is boost your level 5's DP a little bit higher so that your WereGarurumon combos can sustain a little bit better when it swings into Security. Well, right now, some of you guys might be wondering why playing all these red option tamers inside this deck. Well, that's because we do want to sometimes play a red option. And some you guys would know the famous Delicate Plan will also be a very nice inclusion. There's a lot of security bombs in this format, especially Beostar and some kind of security controls and Mastermon decks can really heavily ruin WereGarurumon because it does not have any protection against security effects. And those kind of option cards are just generally very detrimental to this deck in particular, so therefore having a Delicate Plan really helps you ensures your aggressive plays that you can actually swing through and make your OTK combos there. And that's the reason why I would suggest some of these red tamers as a red package to be added into the deck. However, there's a lot of cards you're going to have to take out and jumble out and swap around to play around with your ratios to see what suits you the best. And then last but not least, this is very unusual. Of course, we have a Hammer Spark. Usually, in all my blue deck videos, I would say that Hammer Spark is 100% a crucial must-have for in every single blue deck. However, this is very entirely different. The WereGarurumon and the Garurumon X Antibody deck right here doesn't really require Hammer Spark as much. There's so many other ways to gain memory to make your plays, and you just really want to focus on digivolving, drawing your cards, cycling your combos faster than ever. And Hammer Spark sometimes essentially becomes a dead card, and playing 4 copies is just way too much, and there's no space in the deck whatsoever to fit any of those. However, you can tech in 1 or 2 by swapping out some of the ratios. However, I just generally like my build currently is, which I felt really good not having to play the Hammer Spark, and I really encourage you guys to give it a try as well, which may seem unusual. Now that we got the deck profile completed, let's showcase you guys the combos. Like I talked about throughout the video so far with all the cards and the deck, searching is really your priority, drawing is really your priority, and this deck does it no better than any other deck out there in the current format. So you hatch your egg, you would ideally want to be digivolving your Tsunomon into a Gabumon with the Inheritable, and then during the early stages, you would play your Cool Boys, play your Davises to search for more cards that you need, play your Gabumons to search for more, and then you can even digivolve into Gabumon X Antibody here to search for even more, or even hard play and go a bit wide, which is why these cards are just so good. While you're at it in the raising, sometimes you can just even digivolve your Gabumon here for free, just to cycle one more card from your hand if you just want to draw. Next up is you get your options to choose into your Garurumon. One or the other is nice. The promo one is better for early game to get your draws even more faster, finding more combo pieces, and fulfilling the 8 cards in your hand. Otherwise, this other Garurumon is equally just as nice because you have Inheritable of 1k DP. If not, you can digivolve this in battle area for 1 cost just to cycle a bit more too. So let's just say we go into this Garurumon in particular, and as we're building, we of course definitely want to be digivolving our Garou X Antibody on top while doing so. Ideally in the raising, be patient, don't get too greedy, wanting to use your Cool Boy out there because of potential removal. You really want to get to your level 5. That's really the most important thing, where we do have this WereGarurumon promo right here. That's what you want to be getting into. Now, once your opponent will pass you back to your turn, this combo does not require you to have 3 memory. You actually only need 1 memory and you can still fulfill this combo right here, which is really nice. So let's just, for the sake, let's just take out the Davis and Cool Boy to show you guys. What you all really need is that you just need the Weregurumon promo in your raising ready to go, as well as the Weregurumon X antibody so that you can go into it afterwards. Now right here, you push this up. What you want to be doing is make sure that you do have 8 cards in your hand so that you can first swing with the Weregurumon into your opponent's security. Now, because you're swinging and there is a Gurumon, you get to unsuspend. Next up, depending on security check, he is currently at 8 KDP, which is kind of nice, but you know, there are potentials that it can be deleted by the security battle. This is when the Gurumon X antibody inherited effect comes in real handy, which I was saying, it gives you that one-time jamming. Let's just say you run into something that's 10 KDP and you have to protect yourself. You can use this effect by, ideally, you want to be taking away your 2 Gabumons, because you do have to have 2 of the same levels, so the 2 level 3s right here, so then it will be sustained, which is really nice. Now, the reason why you don't want to take out the level 4s that quickly is because if you do have 2 level 4s, you can use this effect once again, which is really good. Now, you want to swing in for 1 more check, once again, and then you can use your Gurumon here to draw 1. Now this time it's 7k. Let's just say, unfortunately, it may get deleted during the check and whatnot. You would take these 2 cards out again to protect it. Now on the flip side, in a more ideal case, let's just say it doesn't and it survives, so you don't have to utilize these resources, it'll be even better. Now next, you can Digivolve your Weregurumon X antibody on top of your Weregurumon right here for free. This is the situation where if you do have Cool Boy, it will be even better because you can suspend him to gain a memory and draw a card and cycle through more. But it doesn't really matter in particular because with Weregurumon, you Digivolve, you unsuspend. And then because you do have Weregurumon underneath, you get to bounce opponent's level 4. Now this time, you swing in once more for 2 checks because you would have 8 cards in your hand and you'll get the security +1. Once again, if it does potentially get threatened and deleted in the security battle, you can remove these 2 to protect it. So now that sums up for the very first part of this combo. However, there's more to bridge along together for the potential OTK. What you want to be doing is in the early game of stages, just before you push this up, is you would be having these Gabumons that's floating on the board. What you want to do is actually use them to chip into your opponent to lower their security to 4. Now 4 is the magic number because, like I mentioned earlier, this combo right here does 4 checks, and then afterwards that's 5 security in total, so you want to finish off the game right there. And here you will have your Weregurumon ready to go. Ideally, you may have Davis or Cool Boy, whichever. You need a bit more memory than just 1 or 2. 3 would be most ideal here, but you guys can see and track as we go. Once again, you would swing in security with Weregurumon, using all its effects to unsuspend. For the sake of demonstrating the combo, you may need to trash some of these sources along the way while you're swinging. Once again, just like the first combo, you swing in once again here, and then you go, that's 2 checks, and then you go into your Weregurumon X antibody. It gets to unsuspend. You can suspend Cool Boy to gain yourself to 4 memory, or to 3, whichever you need at the time when you may not have Davis or not. And then you can swing in again for 2 checks right here, and that's 4 checks in total. Next up, depending on how much memory you have, this is when you want to have your Metal Gurumon X antibody or your regular Metal Gurumon here. If you only have 3 memory, having the Metal Gurumon will be nicer, because if you have 8 cards in your hand, you simply pay the 4 first to Digivolve into the Metal Gurumon, but if you do have 8 cards in your hand, you get to gain the 2 memory back, making it 1, and then you can pay 1 memory to Digivolve it into Metal Gurumon X antibody. And if you do, you get to draw a card for Digivolving, and then you get to unsuspend utilizing all its other effects. And then since your opponent has no more security left, you use this to finish the game. If you don't have Metal Gurumon X antibody, on the other hand, Blitz Omnimon works exactly the same way as it needs to, which is why these 2 cards are so good, and which is why I'm saying the level 6s and above are really just top end finishers for the deck. Now for this last combo, this time let's show you guys how you want to be utilizing this X antibody option and why it's actually a lot better than what you guys think. Your opponent might be putting you at 1 memory, you don't have a memory tamer, that's totally fine. Once again, you just want to have your Weregurumon stack ready to go. You first want to be swinging in with your Weregurumon just like before, unsuspend right here, And then at this moment, you can slide in your X antibody option and then swing in for the second time using your X antibody option, allowing you to digivolve into your Wergurumon X antibody here. And because it is digivolved, it gets to unsuspend. But at this moment on time, when you're attacking, it does 2 checks instead, because it's digivolved on top of Wergurumon. So that is a total of 3 checks so far. You want swing in once more here, once again for another 2 checks, and that's 5 security gone for your opponent. And then you repeat that exact same last step of combo that I have, which I showcased you guys. You can also, once again, suspend Cool Boy to gain yourself that 1 extra memory and draw 1 card. But again, you go into your Metal Gar right here, and then you finish the game with Metal Gar, X Antibody, or Omnimon, and that is the OTK final combo, most optimal of way how you want to be playing it. That will conclude for my very own deck building strategy and in-depth guide for the Metal Garurumon X Antibody deck profile. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, like always, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Overall, Metal Gar X Antibody is super fun to play. The consistency and speed blends very well all together, which definitely makes it a tier 1 deck for the BT9 format. Many other decks have a lot of difficulty trying to keep up with its pace and its speed. However, control-based decks do hard counter Metal Gar fairly strong, which is why it's actually very important for you guys to potentially consider adding the red package along with ADP, which I mentioned earlier in the video. But that sums up for my video guide for today, and if you guys want to see more BT9 deck profiles, then you know what you gotta do. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right now and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video. This is Vault, signing out.